Positive organizational psychology in itself is the fastest growing sub-discipline of psychology across all domains. So I think that says something about the perceptive value of the discipline. So we're at the next phase of organizational psychology's development, right? And we're at this brink of either becoming totally irrelevant or becoming a revolutionary science.
Professor Llewellyn van Zyl, an extraordinary professor at the Optentia Research Unit, is a positive psychologist and an internationally recognized expert in enhancing talents through data-driven, strengths-based assessment and development. Positive organizational psychology is a scientific field of inquiry investigating the positive outcomes, positive processes, and positive attributes of organizations and their members as a means to improve the effectiveness and quality of organizational life.
Positive organizational psychology in itself is the fastest growing sub-discipline of psychology across all domains. So I think that says something about the perceptive value of the discipline.
Positive organizational psychology emphasizes studying exceptional outcomes and creating conditions for optimal functioning, shifting focus from fixing what is wrong to enhancing individual, team, and organizational performance.
In terms of the major contributions, I think a lot of work has gone into understanding these multi-leveled approaches towards positive functioning. So I think we were one of the first people to actually look at the impact of the individual and the team on organizational functioning and vice versa. So I think one of the major contributions of positive organizational psychology is the fact that we are truly interdisciplinary science, and the contributions that we are making has an impact in other fields. I'll give a very practical example. The use of appreciative inquiry as an organizational diagnostic tool. So it was developed by Cooper Ryder to try and understand how people are actually functioning well together within a hospital environment. That's kind of where it started. But they're utilizing the same principles in architecture. At the University of Delft in the Netherlands, they're utilizing appreciative inquiry to build communities. They knew, for example, they had to put up a factory somewhere in one of the suburbs in the Netherlands, and they knew this is not going to go down well because nobody wants a factory in the middle of their community. But they got the community together and talked about, like, we have to do this, but what is our dream for what this new community would look like? So the idea is in saying, like, how do we utilize these positive stuff in different domains? And there's various examples of this.
According to Professor van Zyl, the field of positive organizational psychology is threatened by a declining relevance.
If you look at the growth of the publications, you're also seeing a decline in citations controlling for the year of publication. So even though there's a lot of publications happening, what this means is there's a decline in relevance. So I think there are a couple of things that's really contributing to this declining in relevance. The one is that our theories and things aren't necessarily explaining complex organizational phenomena. The second thing is that practice and science are moving in two totally different directions. I also think that because we're not really addressing real world problems, so we're doing what we call frontier knowledge. We're creating things that we already kind of know. And we're just saying, looking at another study about engagement and performance, and maybe this time in a different context, or we're adding a different variable. But we're not having these revolutionary ideas anymore. I also think the competence of both scientists and practitioners plays a massive role here, where scientists are not skilled in analysis, they're not skilled in technology. Practitioners, on the other hand, they come up with very great ideas, but they start cherry picking things, and they say, oh, this gratitude stuff is good and the strengths-based approach stuff is nice, and we repackage it as something totally different, but then when we implement it, their interventions don't work, and that has a negative impact on the perceptive value of the field. If you look at the amount of publications that's being published, there is a large amount of academic and practitioner support for organizational psychology stuff. The problem is the relevance, because we're not addressing these core business orientated problems that we're experiencing.
Concerns about the applicability of positive organizational psychology in non-Western settings, marked by poverty and inequality, prompts questions regarding its relevance in such contexts.
Positive organizational psychology is a rich man's science. if you look at where it's developed, it's primarily in the US. There's only 2 countries from non-Western perspectives. It's China and South Africa that makes contributions. The rest is very Western-orientated science, and there's very little development outside of these contexts. So what we would do is we would take these models from the US and the UK and the Netherlands. We're trying to apply them within our context, with South African context, to explain these phenomena, and it doesn't necessarily work. So I think in terms of answering the more difficult questions, there are opportunities, but we have to focus on developing new, we call them, I think you call them, like these indigenous positive psychologies, like really focusing on local traditions, local values, local ways of thinking, and trying to build answers out of local wisdom, and not necessarily taking things from other contexts which is not necessarily relevant to ours.
Positive organizational psychology is on the brink of either a remarkable revolution or a thunderous downfall due to its growing inability to explain and respond to real-world business problems.
So we're at the next phase of organizational psychology's development, right? And we're at this brink of either becoming totally irrelevant or becoming a revolutionary science. And I think at the one end, there are 3 things that's important. The one is that we have to start developing these multifocal, multi-level types of understanding of organizational functioning, understanding what the individual's contribution to the group is, the group's to the organization to the society, and the community, and vice versa. So these multi-level approaches towards understanding things is becoming really important. I think the second thing is like we are data scientists. Work in organizational psychology is, as the mother discipline of positive organizational psych, has been classified as a STEM area in the US, meaning that science, data-driven approaches, technology is a fundamental aspect of it. They're the only people teaching it. So in order for us to stay relevant, we really have to change our view of this and say, we're not practitioners or psychologists, we're technologists, we're analysts, we're big data scientists, we're developers. This is, I think, in terms of the practicality, the next contribution that we need to make in order to ensure that we are relevant. And the final aspect is to say that there needs to be the role of the psychologist or the practitioner also kind of like needs to change, where there needs to be a lot more collaboration between scientists, practitioners, and governmental bodies.
Positive Organizational Psychology 2.0 is a culturally sensitive, data-driven field of scientific inquiry that embraces technological innovations, human-centric design, and advanced data science to understand and improve positive characteristics across individual, organizational, and societal levels.
Every job that you will ever engage in, there will be people. Whether you're an IT guy, whether you're a cleaner, whether you're an accountant, there will always be a people aspect attached to it. The skill set that you learn in terms of understanding human behavior, looking for the positive stuff, these types of aspects, it's a very unique skill set and it's applicable to everything. So even if I leave psychology, this core aspect of me will always be there, and it gave me the skills that I need to understand human behavior.